Fog on moor, whispers in the wind, mystic waters where the spirits blend. Tales of old, in shadows they reside. By the fire we gather, let them.
How much factionalism has there been that we have seen?
That's pretty much what last season was about and why Orphania was attacking Carador, right? You got the big contention between the Seelie and the Unseelie. This season, we wanted to keep it lighter, so there's not direct infighting, but let's just say it's the adventures start where factions haven't attended this celebration they were invited to celebrate the engagement. So the adventurers are going to find out why. And some of the answers are just, why would we go? We don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. We're not in favor of this. So we'll see that. And a lot of hinting of contention for seasons to come, especially around the Northlanders, the Shield Maiden specifically. And I think the politics have always been there and will always be there. Um, the Moonshaes is a very diverse place, and that's one of the things I love about it. You get so many types of adventure, within this set of isles, but also so many different worldviews. Um, it wouldn't be the Moonshaes without some politics.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Years ago, when they were sinking my Moonshaes and putting Doug's in its place because he'd done this Albion campaign for TSR UK, and it was now orphaned, so they had to put it somewhere. So they took my Moonshaes, which were sort of like the real world Hebrides or um, Ursula Le Guin's Earthsea. There were lots of little islands close together, and fishing boats went out every day, but not too many people traveled from island to island. But it was basically Celtic, but it was um, serial numbers filed off Celtic.
Mm.
It was um, Hibernia Celtic or the Matter of Britain Celtic. It wasn't stallions called Avalon and castles with care in front of their names, because that to me was too real world. But at the time, it was like, okay, this is where anything can happen. This is the worlds collide. There's mists and there's Turnanoch and that sort of stuff. And they basically said, "Is it okay?" And I said, "Sure," because this is the place where anything can happen. This is the corner of the realms where, as long as it's misty moisty and gives you that feel, anything can be going on there. And they said, "Oh, good," and proceeded to do that with the Earth Mother and so on. It was like, no. So I do you still have the feeling when you're designing that anything can happen, that you can somehow, like, if for instance, let us say this is a complete hypothetical that will not happen. Let's say Wizards of the Coast comes to you and says, okay, we need to have this storyline, you need to take care of it because it's going to be in your laps in the Moonshaes, where five gods fight five gods in an arena and only like three of them will survive, and that will change the world. You get the feeling that, ooh, that would be sticky, but we could handle it here. We
Yeah.
could somehow do it here.
You could.
Yeah.
I want to be underwater in the Sea of Moonshae among all the sea elves down there. I think that would be a perfect place to have such a 5-on-5.
Well, you see, to me, the sea elves, I always picture them as sitting around on overstuffed sofas with popcorn, looking upwards to where the sun comes down to, and what's on TV tonight? Who's killing who tonight? Oh, this is going to be good. Well, okay, a little more Highlander vibe, or a little more. How do I put this politely? I was romanced by a Highlander laird pocket paperback vibe to cut up all the killings, you know. So it isn't all grim feuding like we see on the Vikings TV show or any number of the Battle of Culloden. This is what Grapeshot does, you know, that sort of stuff that we, you know, grew up on. That there is some lighthearted moments and some passion as opposed to the passion that says, I kill you again, kill, kill, kill. You know, some other sort of passion from that. And that's how I see the CLs looking up at the Drylanders above them going, what entertainment are you going to serve up for me tonight? Because it's been 3 hours, you know.
There's plenty of entertainment to go around. That's for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, with so many different islands, I mean, we only have like the big islands named. And there's lots of little ones, especially up in the Coron Archipelago at the north. You could stick all sorts of crazy things in there. Or, I mean, the Care Allison goes up and goes down as needed for plot and the whims of the first queen of the Moonshaes.
Sorry, I'm getting this vibe of the elevator operator.
Yes, the whole her tomb castle rises from the sea as
8th floor lingerie, 9th floor major appliances,
10th floor dreams and divinations.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, cool.
Everybody out! Watch the first step. It's a doozy.
And so, are you thinking? Are you thinking cloud castles? Are you thinking?
Ooh, Allison becomes a cloud castle. Write that down.
Write that down quick.
And what can you see of these castles in the moonlight that you can't see by day?
Maybe that's the only time you can see them is in the moonlight.
That would be very Moonshavian.
Yes, very.
Yep.
That's the only time, and it's only maybe even certain times of the year. You know.
Oh yes, and I remember vividly that I had to put the Moonwells into an appendix because I was ordered to by my editor. You know, that's got to be there. You know, we're publishing a game product that elucidates the Moonshaes. You have to tell us what Moonwells do.
Yeah.
So I did it, and Jim Ward, who was a manager of creative services, I think was the title at that month. It got shortened to creative manager later the same year. He said, "You fool! Now you've told us what the Moonwells can do. You've taken away that creativity that every author and designer can put anything in the Moonwells." And I said, "Well, I didn't think I'd really taken it away. So I ask you, do you have any ideas in mind for like slyly changing or adding to the magic of the Moonshaes that we might not know about until we get to the end of a campaign play in one season?"
We did for Rising Shadows.
Yes. It's why I ask. It seemed to me that, oh, good, they did something major and got away with it. Meaning, like, Wizards didn't go, "Oh, you can't do that." No. So that would say that you have the elbow room, laughed Daniel Boone. You know.
Yeah,
So,
I was surprised that they let that one slide through, actually. But it was consistent with 5e lore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how circumspect should we be about this? Should we all be cagey and mysterious, or should we let people know what we did? It was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, but there are still people who don't know what the Lord of the Rings is, you know.
There
Believe it or
is
not,
that.
Yeah.
We let's put it this way. At the end of Rising Shadows, kind of if the Moonshaes is a cut gem, we kind of twisted so you looked at it through a different facet. It's still the same gem, and it's still what it always has been. It's just you're looking at it slightly different, and it casts different lights because of that. And I
Oh, or
thought it.
to put it another way, in say historical American political views, it's still the same country the year before the New Deal was announced, but you see the country differently once you're in the New Deal.
Yes.
Still the same country, but you now feel like you're headed in a new direction. I'm trying not to be too specific because going down real world things means different things to different people. So you go madly racing off in all directions at once.
And what that let us do is we could put back in some of the DM and campaign designer discretion on the Moonwells. That what was in the halls of the High King was, well, that was what it was at that particular point in time, but it might not be anymore because it all has its power from the same source.
Got it. Okay.
And we also got so many jokes about, wow, these Moonwells are very corruptible. And I decided to lean into it and say, like, yeah, they kind of are, because the Earth Mother really isn't a goddess. She doesn't have that same level of the going back to third edition, I think it was, that had that deity level 0, where you started getting powers, and she's not quite there. So it keeps her very. She can be threatened by mortal threats. She can be overwhelmed by outside influences, like all the things that have happened through all of Doug Niles' books. And that's what she has no defenses against it, except for her heroes. And Moonshaes have always relied upon their heroes.
So, mortal threats. And now we see, as part of the teasing for the next edition of D&D, excuse me, the one and only edition of D&D. Yeah.
I've been calling it the iteration, the 2024 iteration.
Yes. Yeah. But we're redoing the dragons again.
Again?
So that's part of their teaser.
Okay.
They've been showing new art and new stuff for the dragons and new.
I do love the art.
So, with that in mind, does that mean when like the books finally come out and realize the monster manual is going to be the delayed one? Okay. Yeah. Does that mean you guys as designers, quick like bunnies, rush out and read, say, the dragon turtle entry, the dragon entry, and go, okay, now we have to change the Moonshaes because of this, or not? As in, do you see the Moonshaes as a good place for dragons to lair in? And if so, does a change in the nature or casting of the monsters, in the same way that you turned the gem, so we're looking at it differently, does that mean you have to rethink what, say, dragons or other big creatures, beholders, illithids, whatever, big creature of the moment? Let's assume we don't have a Tarask roaming around, say, Moray, but okay. But
large big lizard man.
Yeah, large dragon. Okay, large critters that are sentient and that would have layers, and their layers would be in the Moonshaes. Does a change in the way they're cast in the new edition of the game mean you quick like bunnies start revising your design for the future? For them, is the Moonshaes that sort of alive for you? That sort of dynamic?
Can I take a quick stab at this and pass it off to you, Savannah?
Yeah.
We knew this was coming.
Yes.
So when we sat down with Savannah, and I sat down and started working out Promise of Blossoms, with her being the lead on it, one of the things I recommended was we were like, wow, we've really been giving it to the Moonshaes hard the past 7 years. Maybe they need a break from all these death and destruction everywhere. And we also don't know what the rules are going to be. We don't know when the rules are going to come out. So let's do some freeform adventures that don't have as much emphasis on the combat pillar in Dungeons and Dragons and go more into the discovery and role playing. And a lot of Promise of Blossoms, although there is still some combat, it's not the primary focus for a lot of the adventures. And that was to cushion us against whatever changes came. Now, as for the rest of it, as long as we stay true to our themes, and when you brought up new dragons and the Moonshaes, I want Savannah to talk about her brilliant stroke of introducing a couple new dragons
Ooh,
to the
ooh.
Moonshaes, who are some of Ed's favorite type of dragons, and you know which
Great,
ones
yeah.
I'm talking about. And I'm gonna pass the baton over to Savannah.
Yay.
So last season, it was very important to me that we bring back some mythical creatures from the Moonshaes that we haven't seen for a very long time. So I wove the song dragons into
Oh,
the
nice.
story, and the first trilogy is about these two song dragons who are siblings, and helping them with their woes and learning more about them, and forming a connection with them. And I think people really liked it. I got some good feedback. um, but to me, they're just so magical, and I just love all the lore around them. And we changed it up a little bit, just to modernize their background a little bit, so they're not always female presenting now. They have uh, an array of oh, what am I trying to say? they traverse through different stages and visages.
I swear that this tag
I'm just
is
watching the footwork here, the verbal footwork. Yes.
It's one of those moments where you start talking and you know what you want to say in your brain, but it's not coming out of your mouth. I'm sure we've all had those.
I think that's called politics.
Yes, it is.
No, I love the Song Dragons, and because they were personality first, mechanics second.
Yeah.
And that is what will keep a character much more, will NPCs much more pertinent to players, regardless of what the addition or iteration of the rules are at any particular time. And it goes back to my earlier comment that what makes things feel alive is repetition. Oh, look, hey, here are the song dragons again. They're consistently doing the same sort of thing, or this makes sense for them to be doing this. It's like, oh, what crazy adventure have the song dragons gotten up to this time?
Yeah.
Or I think they attract all sorts of hijinks.
Yeah, and at first they were introduced through rumors. So the first adventure, where people, the villagers were saying these two people walked through. They said they were dragons, but I'm pretty sure, maybe that's just the name of their band type feel. And then you eventually you
The
meet
drummer.
them and you discover, oh no, they are actually dragons.
We do like having our folk being very colorful in their descriptions about everything. So sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out when embellishment starts and fact ends, because it's kind of a gradient among folk. If they're like, oh, that makes a better story, I'm going to be telling it that way now from now on.
So when you bring these dragons back, as you say, because they were in the past, what's going to be the reason for their absence? Why were they absent for so long in the realms?
So the dragons haven't really addressed that. They're just here now and want to have some fun.
And what do we know what area? Because I'm looking at here, Norland, Alaron, Norheim Isle. Where are they going to be? Where are they being seen?
So they are first seen in Moray.
Okay.
Because they're chasing a story. So the two song dragons are Sendri and Lindea, And Sendry has a penchant for wanting to document every story. And one of my descriptions for him is he changes from mythical beast to stationary diplomat very, very quickly. And he decides he really likes the adventurers and wants to follow their story. And when they join the final battle, he is the one that gives them death waivers to sign, saying they, are okay, and this is their last will and testament, and,
We're not
and they'll put their
responsible for
life
any
on the
loss of
line.
life.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah,
What about
it's those. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
go
those
ahead.
changes of tone that make the realms. That's how you know you're in the realms.
Right.
When somebody like twists like that, and it's just off stage, just off what you were expecting. Yeah, I was just doing a script for one of my realms videos, and I'll just tell you the title: Lord Bladesimmer and the Toenail of Vecna. Yeah, see, it's just like you do it. Oh yeah, he's gonna do a Vecna thing. Oink. I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, that's perfect. If he's doing waivers, yeah, I love it. Okay, sorry for jumping on you, Jeff. Go ahead.
Oh no, it was just the comment to me, because envisioning for me a song dragon, are these are very regal looking? Are they small in stature? Are they going to be full size, medium? Are they going to be uh easy to hide kind of thing? Are these going to be full size dragons or
So in their dragon form, they're full-sized dragons. But more often than not, you see them in their human form, because they want to be in with the stories. They want to be documenting them. They want to be partaking in them. And the best way to do that isn't as a dragon watching. It's in the
human?
disguise of a human.
So
Right?
a lot of these going to be bard like?
Oh yes, yes.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say it sounds like something the
Oh,
bard would do.
That's
so.
really cool, because when I first created Were Dragons, became Song Dragons, my mental picture of them was what I was seeing as a young kid, too young to participate, but young enough to be allowed to attend the coffee houses of Yorkville in Toronto. Because there were coffee
Okay.
houses and not bars, young kids could go in because there was no alcohol, and that's where Joni Mitchell and Buffy St. Marie and all the Joan Baez, all the singer-songwriters of the hippie
Yeah,
era.
the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, so they all had long, beautiful hair, and they all dressed sort of like guys. As in jeans, high boots, not dresses, and they came with their guitars, and they sat about 5 feet away from you, and they were gorgeous and mysterious and came from afar and had great music to sing. And that was the mental version, that thing I was drawing on to do Song Dragons.
And
Which
what
is
better
why,
way for them to
yeah,
learn all this
exactly.
stuff is to
So full circle, yeah.
That is awesome.
Now, they don't necessarily have to be human. Whether can they appear as?
Oh, they could appear as whatever fit where they wanted to be. So they could be fae, they could be lizard folk.
Would they be
They're not
open or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
A dwarf
Absolutely
dragon.
anything.
Oh my god.
Yeah, for me, I would think a Song Dragon would draw the line at troglodyte.
I think so.
They don't want to stink the place out,
That is true.
But short of that, yeah, okay, that's
Is
cool.
it any humanoid, or can they also do like a cat? To sneak into a castle and
God, that would be the perfect person, because he can get anywhere he wants.
Yes.
Well,
they could right in the lap of the Lord, and they could listen to every single thing that's said.
They did have a shapeshift power originally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What if one was a giant space hammer?
Wolverine hills and valleys wild, through the years lost like a wayward child. Moonshaes, Moonshaes, where legends rest. Celtic dreams and a hero's quest. Moonshaes, Moonshaes, dance of the Fae in the heart of the Isles were swept away.
La 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 la.